Hello there, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my impressions of the gameplay reveal trailer for Elden Ring. Now this is a game that I've really been looking forward to, been really hyped for this. I love Fromsoftware, I love the Dark Souls games, Bloodborne, Sekiro. Now we did get a pre-rendered teaser trailer that gave us a little idea about Elden Ring, what it was all about. There was a guy forging a ring. There was another what looked like a king, and he had all these hands in a circle. Yeah, it was definitely dark fantasy looking. So I think it kind of made everyone think, yeah, this is going to be very Dark Souls-ish. And having seen the gameplay trailer now, we can definitely rest assured that this is Fromsoftware doing what they do best, making dark fantasy action RPGs. So although this is like a new IP for them, Elden Ring is like a whole new story, a whole new lore to it. It is definitely in the same vein as Dark Souls, and I'm perfectly happy with that. Now interestingly, Fromsoftware got a Western author, J.R.R. Martin, involved in actually coming up with the story and the characters for the game. So he's been helping out the Japanese studio. Now he did the A Song of Fire and Ice books, which was of course adapted into the Game of Thrones series. I'll say no more. Now as far as the story is concerned, there's this Queen Marika, the Eternal, and there's this ring, the Elden Ring, which gets broken, and there's all these shards of the Elden Ring. It's been shattered. Something to do with the Erd tree, whatever that is. I think there is some sort of artwork for the Erd tree. Well, what I think might be the tree. So there's a picture of that. Now Marika has some offspring, and they're like demigods. So whether she's a god herself, I don't know. But her offspring are demigods, and I imagine they're going to be like the bosses. And they've probably been corrupted by these bits of broken ring. And there's a big war that starts because of the ring getting broken. So the world is all shattered and decaying. You know, these sort of decrepit worlds Fromsoftware, that's what they're known for. And obviously they're going to continue that with this game. So these bits of ring, they're called the Great Runes. So I imagine you have to traverse this huge world that Fromsoftware have created, fight these demigod bosses, get the Great Runes, and maybe reform the ring, perhaps. So there's this kind of a Lord of the Rings overtones here. But obviously there's going to be more side stories and characters. So there's a lot to look forward to in terms of the story. Obviously this is a big departure from Dark Souls. This is a new IP. So although it is definitely a sort of dark fantasy RPG, we're getting a whole new cast of characters and storylines. So that's something to be excited about. Now it definitely looks like they're just using the existing game engine that they had, that they used for Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro. Maybe they've upgraded it a bit. I mean, the game is open world now, apparently. So it's like a seamless open world. So they must have been working on their streaming technologies a bit. It does look a bit richer. The colour palettes look a bit richer, which I'm really pleased with. I thought that Bloodborne looked a bit washed out, although it was, you know, a beautiful game. And they definitely have been sort of working on that. I think Sekiro looks a bit richer in its colour palettes. But I think they've gone even further here. And there's some really lovely looking shots here in this trailer. Now one thing I noticed is there's lots of different weapons on display here, lots of armour sets, so I think there's going to be lots of customization available, lots of builds we can come up with, which again I think is going to be really popular with most Dark Souls fans. Now quite surprisingly, there is talk of it having a day-night cycle and also different weather effects as well. So although this is going to be quite a familiar experience with dark fantasy, I think it's still going to be quite a fresh experience with this big seamless open world and these dynamic weather effects and day-night cycle. This is new for Fromsoftware, so yes, this is quite exciting. Okay, another thing I noticed was the mount. You could ride around on a horse. This is completely new for Fromsoftware. With Sekiro, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, you just walked everywhere. So having a horse you can ride on, that definitely shows this is a big world we're going to get to explore. And what's quite interesting, there seems to be these jump pads, and you hit this jump pad and you see the horse go vertically up this cliff face. That looks so cool. I can't wait to try that. It also looks like the horse can jump. Whether that's an automatic thing or you can jump when you want to, we'll have to wait and find out. Now, combat looks very similar to Dark Souls. It definitely looks very fluid, the action. Now, Sekiro was very sort of fast-paced action, so maybe that's influenced this game a bit. We're going to see a bit more fast-paced action. So yeah, combat-wise, we're going to have to wait and see. It looks good, it looks interesting, but I love the melee combat in Dark Souls. Waiting for an opening, trying to read the enemies, learning their attack patterns, rolling to avoid attacks at the right time, waiting for a window of opportunity to attack them, getting your attacks in, not being too greedy. I'm always tend to be a bit too greedy, get punished. There definitely seems to be like a stealth aspect to it as well. There's a few little clips here where you see him creeping around. That reminds me of Sekiro, so there's definitely an influence there as well. Now also there's talk of multiplayer. Just like in the Dark Souls games and Bloodborne, you can call in people to help you if you're having trouble. So I imagine that's what the multiplayer is going to be like. They're going to continue with that. Could be wrong there. Maybe the multiplayer is going to be more extensive this time. Maybe you can call someone in at any time. I doubt it though. I think it's probably going to be the same sort of multiplayer aspects as with Bloodborne and Dark Souls. So the game does look very last gen in terms of graphics. It definitely looks like it's been made primarily for last gen, for the PS4 and the Xbox One. Now, Bandai Namco, who are publishing the game, I did read on their website something about a free update to the next gen systems. Obviously, you have to wait and see on that one. What happens with the new consoles? Are they going to significantly enhance it in any way? Going by Fromsoftware's track record, I don't think they're going to do too much to it in ways of enhancing it. I don't think we're going to see ray tracing put in on the new consoles. Whether or not we get the 3D audio, hopefully we do. I imagine it's probably just going to be a few little enhancements to the lighting and maybe the game running at 60 frames a second, whereas on the older consoles it's probably going to be 30 frames a second. So I wouldn't expect too much. Now, Fromsoftware have never really been known for their game engine. Like, they don't do cutting-edge game engines. They're normally decent. They do the job. Frame pacing has always been an issue with their older games. It was an issue with Sekiro as well. Hopefully, they get that sorted for this game finally. Now, the remake of Demon's Souls by Bluepoint Software was fantastic. I haven't got a PS5, I haven't played it, but I watched a lot of footage and it does look like a next-gen game graphically. So I'm very interested to find out what people think of this game trailer. Graphically, in terms of the technology, in terms of the game engine, it doesn't look as advanced as the Demon's Souls remake. I think Elden Ring definitely looks like not a step back. I suppose you could think of it like that. It's definitely a more expansive and more ambitious game, but it's running on Fromsoftware's old game engine. So yeah, it's not really going to win people over in terms of the visuals, the flashiness of the visuals, but in terms of the art direction, in terms of the design of the monsters and the creatures and the world, no one does it better than Fromsoftware, in my opinion. And Elden Ring looks superb. I was worried about it. I didn't know whether having a Western author involved meant that they were going for a more sort of Western focused sort of game, trying to make it more appeal to the Western market. I wouldn't blame them if they did do that, because that's obviously where the big money is, the Western market. But I still feel that this is definitely a traditional Japanese looking game. It's dark fantasy, but with that elegant sort of design that the Japanese artists often bring to the fantasy world. It is elegant, it is decrepit in all the right ways. It's the atmosphere of the Dark Souls games that I love. And yeah, we've got that here. It looks like it's dripping with atmosphere, sort of foreboding. There's all these ruined buildings in the distance, these fantastic vistas, and the fact that most of the buildings in the distance you can get to explore, and having a horse that you can ride around on, all new characters and a whole new lore behind it. Obviously, they've put a lot of work into. You don't hire an author like J.R.R. Martin and not fully utilise him. I mean, he's going to be putting a lot into this game as well. Lots of stories, lots of characters, lots of side stories. It's going to be fantastic, I think. Being able to sort of roam around in an open world, it's going to be more sandboxy, I'd imagine. Like, you can go where you want. Probably be different areas that are going to be maybe over leveled for you. That's normally what Fromsoftware do. They normally have certain monsters that you can't really tackle until you've leveled up a bit. So I'm really interested to see how Fromsoftware work with this big open world, how it unfolds, how they present it to the player, how they allow you to explore it. So I can't wait to find that out. Now, we do have a release date for the game. It's the 21st of January 2022. Now, hopefully there won't be any delays. Obviously, with the pandemic, there could be. That's understandable. And it's a hugely ambitious project, this big seamless open world. The biggest game they've ever made. And they are hard-working Fromsoftware. You don't really hear a lot from them. They just announce a game and then they go quiet. And they're working away on this. Now, it's not actually that far off, like early next year. That's going to come around quickly. So I imagine that the bulk of this game is going to be finished now. Like there's still probably got a lot of work to do, playtesting it and finishing off areas. But yeah, I mean, it's not that far away. We've got a date to look forward to. Yeah, this game, I can't wait for this. It's top of my list at the moment. I love Fromsoftware games. Have I said that already? Probably a few times. Now, I don't expect we're going to hear much more about the game for a while now. That's what Fromsoftware are like. They're going to go quiet again. They're going to get back to it. It's been announced. They've shown some gameplay. They've given us a release date. We're not going to hear much from them on this, I don't think. Maybe we may get another trailer if we're lucky before the release date. It really doesn't bother me that it's not sort of a cutting-edge looking game. I mean, if you compare this to, say, Ratchet & Clank, which is definitely 100% like cutting-edge, like next-gen, then, yeah, you might be a bit disappointed. But if you're a huge fan of Fromsoftware, you love dark fantasy, I don't see how you could be excited about this. If you've got this far, thank you very much. I hope you're as hyped as I am for this game. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be interested to hear what people think about this, how the game looks, whether it's meeting people's expectations. Okay, so thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this, as always, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.
They will fight, and they will die.